Hi, my name is Patrick, but you can call me 26. And what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about timers, right? Now, timers are useful if we want to wait for a period of time and then trigger something or need to measure a certain period of time, right? So what you're going to do first is just have a look at timer, a simple timer that is going to trigger when you start listening to it, right? So we're going to use the timer, the timer with the ability to publish using combine, right? To ability to publish the time or the duration of time passed using combine, right? So what you're going to do here is just come and say something like at state. Let's have a look at that. And this is going to be var start, and this is going to be date.now, right? So we're going to start now, and then we say at state var, this is going to be time elapsed, right? And this is going to be, we could make this an integer, and this is going to be 0, right? So that's going to be the time elapsed. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a timer. Now, for our timer, we're just going to come here and we say, let timer is going to be timer dot, there's this, you could use a scheduled timer, or you could use the one we published, right? This is the one we're going to use, right? We are going to publish, and we're going to publish every 1 second on the main loop, right? And in dot common, right? So let's have a look at that a bit, right? We run it on the dot main loop, which is the main loop, since we want to use it to update UI, right? And we don't want to block anything. The last parameter is the run loop mode, right? And you can think of it as a sort of something that delineates priority, right? For UI stuff, we normally want to run it on the common loop, right? And then afterwards, you're going to say dot AutoConnect, right? So what this does is just means that we are telling the timer that we want it to start when we start listening to it, right? So that's going to be that. And then afterwards, you're going to come here and we're just going to get rid of the image, right? Let's get rid of the image here. And for our time, what we're going to do is we're going to put the time as something like time passed, and we're going to use string interpolation. And for the string interpolation, you're just going to say time elapsed, right? Or whatever I say, right? Time elapsed, like so, right? And here we put seconds, right? So that's going to be that. And then now we need to listen for the timer, and for that we need the onReceive modifier, right? So we say dot onReceive, and the publisher in question is going to be timer, right? And we come and what we want to do is we could come here and we say fired, or the date that it fires. And what we want to do here is just say time elapsed is going to be, and we need to convert this into an integer, right? An integer, and this is just going to be fired dot time interval sec interval since, where is it? Time interval since, and the date in question is going to be the start, right? So that's going to be that. And we do that and it works perfectly, right? We don't even need to add anything else, right? We could come here and we say dot font, it's going to be dot large title, right? So after that, we make it bigger, and here we're going to see the time, the amount of time that has passed since this is actually since we started listening to it, right? So it works immediately, right? Now what you're going to do next is I'm going to show you how you could maybe set up a timer that you could start, pause, and stop, right? So, or reset, and even reset, right? So let's have a look at that. Let's create a timer that we can control. Control, that is start it and stop it and even pause it, right? So what we'd want to do is we could keep, we don't need the start date, so we could come here and we say, let's get rid of the receiver, right? Let's get rid of the receiver, like so, but keep the large title for the font. And then afterwards, we don't need the start date because you're not going to be listening to it, right? Then we're going to come here and we say something like at state, and this is going to be private var. This is going to be timer cancelable, so that you can cancel it. And this is going to be of type any cancelable, right? Like so, and it's going to be optional, right? And we might need to import combine. So let's import combine rather. So import combine, and then afterwards we are going to have we're going to have a couple of functions. One is going to start the timer, then the other one is going to pause the timer, and the next one is going to stop it, right? So let's come here, and we're going to start off with the start, right? So this is just going to be, oh, we also need another variable, right? Let's just come here and we say command D, and here we're going to have the, instead of time elapsed, we're going to say is timer running, right? Is timer running, right? And this is going to be, come here, and this is going to be set to false, right? So this is going to be set, is timer running is going to be false, like so. And then afterwards, the next thing we need to do is we need to create the various functions. So we're going to start the first function. Func is going to be called start timer, and no prizes for guessing what it does. And here we're just going to check, is timer running? And we're going to set this to true, right? So when we start the timer running, the flag is going to be set to true. Then we're going to say timer cancelable, and this is going to be timer, like so. And we want to publish, and we want to publish every 1 second. We've already seen that, and we want it on the main thread, and we want it in common, right? We have already seen that, right? So we do that, and then afterwards we just come here. It's going to be dot AutoConnect, like so, right? So we do that, and then afterwards we come here and we say dot sync, right? And we hit enter, and here we could just say underscore in, we don't need anything. And then we come here and we're just going to say time elapsed, and to it we're going to add a second, right? So time elapsed is going to add a second, and then we're going to listen to that, right? So we're going to be listening to, this is going to take every 1 second, so this is going to add 1 second to that, right? So that's pretty straightforward. We have already gone over all this and the AutoConnect, and here we just listen to the publisher, right? So that's going to be done. And then now after this we're going to have the pause timer, right? This is going to be func, and this is going to be called the pause timer, and it's going to do exactly what you think it's going to do. And here we're just going to say is timer running, and is timer running here is going to be set to false, like so. Then we're going to say timer cancelable dot cancel, right? And we cancel it, and that's just going to pause the thing, right? And then afterwards we're going to come here and we say stop the timer. So we say func stop timer, and this is going to be pretty straightforward. We're just going to set the timer time elapsed to 0, right? So we're just going to say is timer running is going to be set to false, right? Is going to be set to false, like so. Then we say timer cancelable, and we could actually just call, in fact, if you think about it, we could just call the pause timer, because this is what it's going to do. We're going to call the pause timer, and then afterwards just set the timer elapsed, right, to 0, right? So that's one way you could do it, right? You could come here and just say something like pause timer, and then after pausing the timer, what we want to do is just say time elapsed is going to equal 0, right? So that's going to be that. And now we need to figure out where we're going to call them in the various buttons, right? So what we want to do is let's create the buttons, and the buttons are going to be very basic, right? We could put them in an H stack. So we come here and we put an H stack like so, H stack, okay, H stack like so. And what we're going to have is going to be button, and the button is going to be the label on the button is going to be dependent on is timer running, right? Now if its timer running is true, we're going to show the pause, right? So if it's playing, or rather if the timer is running, show the ability to pause, right? Else, if it's not running, that means show the ability to start, right? Then afterwards, you could have the system image to accompany it. System image to accompany it is going to be also dependent on the same, is timer running. And if this is true, this is going to be, you could get something like pause dot circle, and if not, you're going to have something like play dot circle, right? So that's going to be that. And we need the code here, and here we're going to check also if is timer running. If this is the case, what we want to do is call pause timer, right? Pause timer, right? Else what we want to do here is just call start timer. What did you call it? Start timer, right? Start timer. So we call that, right? So that should be our button. And okay, maybe we need to make it okay. give it equal space. Swift is very finicky about that. That is sorted. Now, the next thing we could do after this, this button, we could put another button, and this button is just going to be the stop one, right? So we come here and we say button, and this one is going to be massively a bit easier. So this is just going to be the word stop. Come here, say stop like so, and the system image is going to be stop.circle, right? Stop.circle. And after that, we are going to come here and say this is going to be, we want the stop timer, right? Stop timer. So that's going to be that, right? Okay. I wonder why this is complaining. Initializer, because I thought we were within the H stack, right? So within the H stack and here in the button, okay. And let's see. Oh, we need to be outside the other button, right? So come here, cut this, make sure that you're outside the other button, right? So now we come here and we do this, right? Now we should see our button, right? So we have a start and a stop, and we can now manipulate our timer. So we hit this, and you see pause, and the time goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's pause, and it's 9, and we hit start, 10, 11, 12, so on and so forth, right? And we pause, right? And we hit this, it goes back to 0, and we can start 1. So it works, right? Now we can control our timer, right? And you might want to use this, like, for example, you have a slideshow running, right? You want to show a different picture every 3 seconds, right? So you could use this, use the timer to publish, and then listen to the changes, and then just maybe move the scroll view to the next particular image in the carousel or whatnot, right? So that's basically it. That's how timer works. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video.